What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Believe in Everything Auburn. War Eagle, thanks for joining us. Taylor Davis and Jason Campbell with you, as always, here to talk about our Tigers. And once again, apologize for no episode last week. Look, grace is needed in this life. You know what I mean? And this time of season in life and in sports is just chaotic. Okay. And Jason and I just can't always make it work, but we try really flipping hard. And so we weren't able to make it work last week, but honestly, it worked out because we were able to mentally prepare for what was coming this week. I mean, honestly, last week's episode would have been pointless anyway, because nothing really had happened. And this week, everything has happened. So timing actually worked out pretty well. So if you're like us and you've been on the Auburn roller coaster the last 48 hours, have no fear. We are here to talk about it all with you, break it all down as best as we know it, give you our thoughts as we always do. We're also going to get J Cam's thoughts on some basketball as that's in full swing, and look ahead to a bowl game that's just a couple weeks away for the Tigers. So a jam-packed episode. We got plenty to talk about, but let's go ahead and get a word in from our sponsor, Bet Online. We're back and better than ever. A new web interface for the rest of the NBA season and more props, odds, and lines than ever before. You can head to the new updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. You just got to use our promo code BELIEVE50 to receive your bonus. That's BLEAV50 to get that 50% welcome bonus from basketball, football, NHL, boxing, and UFC, even some Vegas casino games. Go ahead and take advantage of all the amazing offers for the 2021 season. Bet online, where the game starts. All right, fam. Welcome in the man, the myth, the legend, J Cam. How you doing, Jason?
What's up, world? Hey, I can't complain. I'm doing pretty good. Got back from a trip from Miami where it was 82 degrees and sunny and tropical trees and blue water. So I'm just trying to rub it in on a little bit.
I know you are. I know a lot of us over here are working really hard. End of year Q4, Jason. And look, go ahead, tell them what it was for now, because it's pretty cool.
Well, it's for my boy Ronnie Brown's 40th birthday. And Spencer Johnson 40th birthday, born on the same day. We was on the same recruiting visit.
That's so wild.
We committed at the same time to Auburn, and all of us born in December.
That's
include
crazy.
Mayo Sal. Mayo was born in December. He was on the recruiting visit, and he committed at the same time.
That really is wild. I think that's so cool. I think Auburn fans will love to know that team, those friendships have lasted a really long time.
Right. Yeah. We've been friends. We're more like brothers than we are friends. Like
that's
I'm
so cool.
Godchildren, so Godfather, so at the same time, like we've all been so close and even throughout the league and everything. So, we have stories for days and, like I said, that what made recruiting fun. Like I hope that Auburn this year got a chance to get some guys together on a recruiting visit, especially during the Iron Bowl week. And hopefully guys got together and said, hey, how about we come here together as a pack, and do something special. Like that's, words can't explain like what it meant for us.
That's so cool. I just love that, some teams, are incredibly tight knit and have good rapport and it's always well documented, but to know that is really just the foundation for like a lifetime friendship. Like that's some cool stuff. So had to go ahead and get you to share that. But I mean, obviously I'm not vacationing in Miami with, 04 teammates, but
on the rooftop though. Look at that.
I got a pretty sick setup, everybody. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I'm in. Oh, guys, just my life has been so crazy this year, which is a good thing, especially after 2020 and how slow everything was. I have been busier this football season than probably ever in my life. So I've been in Charlotte working for the Panthers for a couple weeks because they needed someone to help in studio, whatever. But I had been in Kansas City, as you all know, working for the Royals. And so I actually am staying in a hotel right now because of bowl season, just kind of bouncing around all the time. But I am at the AC Hotel in Charlotte. It's in Uptown. I'm right next to the Hornets Arena. And they were kind enough to let me utilize their rooftop. It's a rooftop bar restaurant that anyone can come to. You don't have to be a guest. But anyway.
Look at there. Can't hide money. Taylor bought the bar out, bought the whole bar out. Can't hide money. She bought it out to herself. Look at that.
You know, I do what I do. No, they hadn't opened yet. Not gonna lie. But beautiful setting, beautiful hotel. If you're in the Charlotte area, definitely check out the AC Hotel. It's got everything you need, and the rooftop is fantastic. So let's go ahead and start with the big breaking news that we also know for sure, because a lot of this we're still waiting on official word. We have to preface with that here in media, but the one that is confirmed out there, official statement, done deal, is that Bo Nix has entered the transfer portal. So he announced it yesterday on his Instagram that he would be using his grad transfer eligibility to go elsewhere and pursue his next endeavor at another school. Now, you and I had actually talked about this a couple weeks ago, and I gauged your perspective on what he was going to do. And I thought, and still think, this kind of confirms my hypothesis. I think without the injury, he was planning on going to the NFL. I think he felt like the chapter at Auburn was closed. But I think the way that this season went, and certainly the way it ended, and now on the cusp of still needing to do rehab and all that, you know, kind of awaits him, I think he sees an opportunity for him to have a more consistent showing on a different stage than Auburn. So I honestly, I understood it on an individual level. It's no secret that this has been a very up and down career for him at Auburn. And therefore, I don't know what the outside perspective could possibly be of him, because you're not getting one thing consistently. So I can't say that it surprised me on an individual level for him. It stung more than I thought it would. It kind of reminded me of the Gus situation. Like, you felt like it was for the best. You knew it was coming, but then when it actually happens and you realize that's going to be someone else's quarterback, not Auburn's, it does make you a little sad. I don't know. It's just, it stings a little bit, but I kind of understand, you know?
Well, Taylor, since you all teary-eyed over there, you know, I
I wouldn't go that far, Jay. I've been hard on the kid.
I'm used to change, like, you know, being in the NFL.
Yeah, that's true.
And I feel like now the NFL has transformed this way to college, you know, like where guys leave after the year of free agency, and next thing you know, you're playing against that same guy the next year on the opposing team. Mm-hmm. So to me, like, you know, with all these NIL deals and different things, you're going to see more of this. And it comes with the territory, unless the NCAA gets to a point where they say, hey, if you're going to transfer, you have to transfer out of your division if you want to start and play the next year. If you're going to, if not, you may have to sit out a year. I think they may lean towards doing that because they didn't expect so many kids to be going to the transfer portal this quickly. And I think
and even after success.
Right. After success. And a lot of college coaches are now, they're aiming to get them to say, hey, you can't talk to a transfer portal kid until January, because they're trying to focus on getting the JUCO guys, getting the high school guys signed by December, where they're either going to push signing back to January, or they're going to have to push the transfer portal kids back to January. So one of them going to have to move backwards, and we'll see which one happens comes this summer when they change the rules. But, you know, the whole Bo aspect, like, yes, he's been through a roller coaster at Auburn. You know, he's had some ups, he's had some downs, and you know, I think a lot of this, to me personally, I think he may have had a sit down with Coach Harsin, and it just got to a point where Coach Harsin probably told him, like, hey, you're going to compete for your job next year. And because let's face it, this was Gus' guy. And anytime a new coach come in, he's not automatically has to buy into what was there before. So maybe this is a situation where Gus probably told him, you know, you're going to compete for it. And maybe Bo didn't want to hear that. And maybe he said, well, you know, the best thing for us to do is part ways. But then there's another story that comes out yesterday, and it says that Bo's dad, Pat Nix, went to Coach Harsin with a list of things, asking him if he could meet these needs. Now, me personally, playing a game of sports and everything, I know you can't do that.
Right.
You know, like, you can't do that, because if you do that, that means you're catering everything to one person and you're leaving out the rest of the team. And when you do that, you hurt the team. So, you know, so as Coach Harsin told him, I can't meet these needs, then he pretty much said the right thing, because you can't put one player over anybody else on the football team. And I think from that aspect, they both probably needed to just say, okay, we're going to go our separate ways. Now,
Yeah.
For Bo, he grew up in Alabama. He grew up in Birmingham area. His dad played at Auburn. He got a chance to play at Auburn, and I'm pretty sure he wanted to finish his career at Auburn. Then, things changed, and when things change, you either adapt or you move and change. And fortunately, he's just said, "Hey, I'm going to make a decision to do what's best for me." After reading what I read yesterday, he said, "I've always done what's best for Auburn. Now I want to do what's best for me." So it sounds like to me, he's looking at it from a long-term perspective and saying, okay, I don't feel like Auburn's going to help me get to the next level this year.
Right.
So I'm going to go look for a team that can kind of give me that opportunity to pursue my dream at the next level by putting me in a better situation or having a better opportunity in my mind. So I think that's the aspect he's leaning at. And, there may be a couple of teams interested. He could end up at UCF with Coach Gus. Who knows?
I mean, that's the first kind of knee-jerk reaction that everyone had when they heard the news. But what I also think about this is, every year that Bo has had to be the starter at Auburn, he's, compared to his dad, but like that's neither here nor there because of just the time difference. But he's always being compared to a worse version of himself. We always get on here and talk about, is he going to improve from the year before? Can he get rid of the inconsistency we saw in his sophomore campaign? It's always putting him up against a bad version of himself and seeing can he be better than that? And then if he has a bad game, the first thing we all talk about is, oh, he's reverting back to his old ways. Like this kid, it's not possible to have a clean slate at this program because he's too far in. There's been 3 years as a starter. Like that is what it is. I think if he really wants to try and eliminate the narrative that Bo is an inconsistent quarterback, he wasn't going to do it at Auburn because he was still going to be compared to what he did early in his career. And that's the nature of college football. I mean, all these players, if they stick to a program, that's possible. But I think he was looking at this going, what I do this next year could be the difference between me having a career in the league and not.
And the other aspect of that is for Bo aspect. So my whole thing is commitment and loyalty.
Totally.
When I signed a college letter of intent to go to Auburn, there's many times that I could have said, hey, I could transfer because I didn't like a situation or I didn't like this, but I knew it was all about competing. It didn't matter if it was in college or if it's going to be in the pros. You always going to have to compete for your job, and you're always going to have some highs, you're going to have some lows, but from a mentality standpoint, I didn't expect anything to come easy because it wasn't easy getting there, so, but if sometimes if you just continue to just keep sawing wood and just keep moving forward and stop trying to figure everything out, sometimes things has a way of finding you. And, I'm not sure if a lot of this had a lot to do with, okay, Auburn doesn't have an OC yet, and he's probably saying okay, I don't know where I fit in. I got to hurry up and make a decision. So let me hurry up and make a decision and just say I'm gonna move on so I can start looking elsewhere because we're still looking for an offensive coordinator. So I don't know if that came into the situation, but to me, I think the decision was already made. We talked about this towards the end of the season. When TJ was playing in the South Carolina game, he went on to the Roundtable show in Birmingham. And they was interviewing him and they was asking him about the upcoming season. And he was just like, well, I can't really answer that because they was asking him, will you be here next season? He was like, well, I can't really answer that because, I'm just working on trying to get my injury right and get healthy. Right then, I told you, I said, he's probably leaving. We didn't know if he was going to be leaving, going to the pros or transfer. But I said, either way, he's leaving. I said, because if you're a quarterback of a team and you're already the starter and you're a leader, anytime somebody asks you something like that, immediately you're going to say, yes, I look forward to coming back next year strong and healthy and, and getting this thing on the right track and finishing out the right way. When you say anything opposite or anything that sounds different than that, then you telling me that you're already checked out mentally on this program. You're already put your sights are somewhere else. And it didn't came true. What we talked about. His sights were somewhere else when he got injured. You can tell he was already moving on from Auburn.
Yeah, honestly, every time I talk about transfer situations, I feel like a ping pong match myself because I go one way and then I go the other. My point is I don't like it because I think we're feeding into what's already a problem with society right now, and that's immediate satisfaction. And that's just not a reality in life. And I believe in upholding commitments. I believe in working hard. and things just not being given to you immediately. But I do have empathy for the decision that these guys are now being given. When that wasn't an option for you, it's easy to be like, well, you're going to make the most of it. But when you do have that big of a decision and you also have agents, it goes back to a point you always talk about: be careful who you're surrounding yourself with, because you are going to take in the opinions of others when you're 18, 19, 20 years old, being forced to make a decision that literally could impact the trajectory of your career, not only your performance on the field, but this very decision. Like if I choose wrong right here, is this going to be the thing I pinpoint as the reason I didn't make it? So I have empathy for them having to like make that decision and having all those options, because sometimes having too many options is more stressful than having none.
All right. And that's the thing. I think the NCAA has given these kids too many options.
Yes.
Like it's an easy way to check out of things. Like, how are these guys grow? Because you're not just talking about them being college athletes. Like, these going to be grown men and husbands and fathers one day. Like,
right.
How do they do when tough times come? Because I always tell people, tough times don't last. Tough people do. So you got to learn how to hurdle the tough times. I was just like, if you don't learn how to hurdle the tough times, or you always looking for that next door, or the grass is greener on the other side, and then you get to the other side, you be like, dang, I should have stayed where I was at, because it was already better than where I'm going, but I just wasn't patient enough. Now,
exactly.
I'm not saying that Bo's making the right decision or wrong decision, because it's his decision.
It's his decision, right?
How he feels about it, how his family feels about it, is clearly like just on him and and everything. So, like I said, it's just, and this situation is tough. As like you said, coaches change. Like the difference between him and me is I went through coordinator changes. He went through a head coach change.
Yeah.
So, with Tuberville was still the head coach, but I had a different coordinator. Now Harsin comes in, it's a different head coach. He brings in his guys as a coaching staff, and maybe you feel like you fit in or you don't fit in. So, him having a chance to leave, I think that throws a different wrench in it because of that aspect of it. Like, the continuity, there has to be some chemistry between you and your coach as well. And
sure.
I'm not sure if they really had that chemistry, and then all of a sudden Mike Bobo got fired as well. So, I think a lot of the reason that Bo was in there a lot longer earlier in the season when everyone's calling for him to be benched was because Mike Bobo stood behind him a lot longer. And he was the one that kept speaking up, no, keep him in there, and everything.
Right.
You saw him, and then you saw him get better. But I just think from an overall standpoint, it's just that, it's his ultimate decision. Like I said, we talked about this being a thing coming into it. I expect more of this stuff to happen. My whole thing is I feel bad for the coaches, because you're not only having to recruit the kids in high school, JUCO, transfer portal, you got to recruit the kids that's already on your team
to keep them
every year.
And supposedly, it's kind of what also had to happen with this Auburn team and Tank Bigsby. I'm sure we all were on the ride that happened yesterday, right after the Bo Nix news came out. It then was said that Tank had entered the portal. That's what reports were out as. I don't know how that gets out there in the way it, and look, these aren't just like people talking on Twitter. These are verified accounts that are tweeting that Bigsby is in the portal. So I don't know if he officially did or didn't. I still don't really know what's going on with that, but now the official, I guess, question mark. What we all know now is that he is returning, and that there supposedly were conversations had about the vision and what, his role in this thing would be. And it was enough for him to want to stay, whatever that means, whatever went into all of that. I'm not sure, but as of now, Tank Bigsby will be returning next year. So, I mean, yeah, I think that this is a tough situation too, because we still do not know who our offensive coordinator is going to be. You and I were talking about that. There's a lot of speculation that it's going to be Austin Davis, who is the quarterbacks coach for the Seattle Seahawks right now. He was a QB at Southern Miss, like you said. He spent some time in the league and has been a QB coach in Seattle. This would be his first coordinator role. So interesting. He's young. He's early 30s. So I'd be curious to hear kind of how that relationship transpired and what Harson's approach will be in all of that. Does that mean Harson starts doing the play calling? Do we have a co-OC with one of his Boise guys? I mean, there's still so many variables that are moving and that are unknown. And then you add in the fact, okay, now your quarterback's transferring. We've already had a few others transfer, like Sean Shivers, we talked about last week. So there's a lot of movement right now. And so for guys that were considering the transfer portal potentially before all of this, you almost feel like that was a nudge to do it because there's still so many question marks that you might as well try something new. But I think that this coaching staff likely hunkered down on Tank and was transparent with him about the plan that maybe we all don't know yet. And it was enough for him to want to stick around. And I think that Tank wanting to leave is a bit more self-serving. I got to be honest, because he is the biggest name on Auburn's football team. And if you're just getting frustrated with the up and down, that's football. And that's not, unless you want to go play at Georgia, which is what everyone was speculating. I think him playing at Auburn or playing somewhere else, that's not affecting his draft stock. The country knows what this kid can do. So him leaving the transfer portal almost seemed like a bit of a more emotional than a logical decision.
Oh, no, yeah, 100%. I think so because you think about with Tank, like, the guy almost had 1,000 yards rushing his freshman year and
Right.
ended up getting freshman of the year, with 800 some yards rushing. And then you think about this season, the offensive line was beat up a little bit, had some guys in and out of there. And, he still broke 1,000 yards this season. And so if you're a Tank, you have to look at that and say, man, you know what? Like, behind an offensive line that was kind of suspect this year because of all the injuries, I still was able to put over 1,000 yards. So
Right.
NFL, if it's for you, it's going to be there. Like they're going to see that. They're going to, understand it. They understand what your true talent is. Now, I understand that, people was after Gus left, Georgia's coming at him hard. South Carolina was coming at him hard. And now the NIL played a pivotal stance in it. You don't know what he was offered and different things like that. But I'm just like, if you go to Georgia, you're going to be competing with more than just Hunter.
Right.
Like there's 2-3 other bats that they have that you're going to be sharing the load with. So in order for you to get 1,000 yards, it's going to be very hard because you're sharing it with so many different guys.
Right.
I was just like, okay, if you go to South Carolina, like they're still trying to build their whole football team. Yes, they end up beating us, but they end up catching us at a moment where I just think our heads were still kind of spinning a little bit, after the loss that we just had to Mississippi State, where we was giving up 28-3. Like, so I just think the best thing for him was to come back. And the other thing is Carnell Williams is your running backs coach. Guess what Carnell was drafted at? Top 5 in the NFL.
Right.
Like,
you need that.
You need someone that can kind of guide you and help you and that's been through it and that you can get that experience from. Like, I'm not sure who's Georgia's running back coach is, but I guarantee he doesn't carry the same weight and the same stuff that Lack carries because he played it and actually did it where you're trying to go. And Lack run Rookie of the Year. So,
he's a legend.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't understand why it even popped in his mind to transfer.
Right.
Like you can't transfer because you get upset about a situation or you get upset about something. Yes, Hunter's a really good running back. Yes, Hunter going to share some carries with you. You need to know that's a running back. That's okay because if I do go to the next level, I don't want to go beat up because I carry the ball. You're going to be healthier.
Exactly.
So it's going to prolong my career in the NFL. So, hey, Hunter, get your 12 to 15 carries a game. I'm going to get my 18. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. We're going to work together on this. And that's what these guys got to understand. Like, I think the more he gets that in his mindset, he's going to realize because I also think they probably say, hey, we're going to go out and get some guys in the JUCO as an offensive lineman and some good high school offensive linemen that's coming in. And, like they're going to be really good. So, just stay put. And I think he made the right decision by staying put.
I do too.
And everything. So hopefully it works out.
I think emotions got a little heightened in that one, but I'm happy to hear that it's so far. I mean, by the time I put this podcast out, watch it be completely different. He's in the portal or something. I don't think so, but I do think it's the right decision for him to stick around because he will certainly be the face of this thing. Okay, another word from one of our sponsors before we get into some other Auburn news, and that is Lightbox. Say goodbye to dull gifts, people. Lightbox are lab-grown diamonds that are the brightest gift of the year. Using cutting-edge technology and innovative techniques, they have cracked the science of sparkle, creating the highest quality lab-grown diamonds you can find at a light price. They have the same chemical makeup of natural diamonds, but just are grown in a lab. Because of their process, they can create stones in blush pink and beautiful blue, as well as classic white. Lightbox lab-grown diamonds are the gift they'll never want to take off, and priced so they don't have to. They really do make any outfit sparkle. So you can visit lightboxjewelry.com to add some sparkle to your holiday shopping. That's lightboxjewelry.com. Okay, so now that we know all of that current movement, it's also time to bring in some new blood, which we need. Also, before we get off this one, do you want to give a prediction of where Bo ends up?
Yeah, I can probably give you two places. UCF. At first I thought maybe Sarkeesian out in Texas, but then once I saw the kid from Ohio State transfer there, that was supposed to be the number one quarterback in class of 2022.
Yep.
I think that threw a wrench in that. So now I would probably say LSU could be one opportunity. Tennessee, maybe, but I'm going to stick with my guns and say UCF.
I think UCF, but you know what I could see? Like what makes sense?
Florida.
Ole Miss.
Yeah, but Ole Miss just got the Gabriel kid from UCF, the lefty. That was there.
Bo and Corral's gameplay is so similar, and what Lane Kiffin is able to do for quarterbacks, you can't knock it, and it's so reputable. And I don't know, I just think fit wise, like if I close my eyes, I could see Bo in like the powder blue. It just makes sense. But I think that now I actually did see a report about him going to Oregon. So I don't freaking know, people. There's all kinds of stuff out there, but what is interesting, though, is that when he entered the portal, he had a tag that said "Do not contact." There's obviously different details.
So he's already made his decision,
which basically means he already knows where he's going. This isn't like an open kind of recruiting type situation. So seems like it's already done, which makes me think Gus, because like you don't need time when you've got that familiarity.
Well, another thing is, he's probably making this. He's already made his decision. He's already, before he even announced that, he had to confirm that the scholarship was going to be given to him wherever he was going.
Wouldn't
and that
you?
And that the starting position was his before he said he was coming. So that,
Gus is rolling out the red carpets, all of them.
So that knocks out Ole Miss. That knocks out Tennessee.
Yeah.
And like I said, Florida was the opportunity, but why would you transfer somewhere within the SEC?
I think the swamp would be tough on him.
Yeah, so I just think more like UCF.
Yeah.
And hey.
We'll see. Honestly, it's been so much movement, not only for Auburn, really for quarterbacks, though. I mean, the portal blew up with some QBs in the last few days. We now have former Nebraska quarterback Adrian Martinez, who's in there. Former USC quarterback Kadon Slovis is in there. Texas A&M quarterback Zach Calzada. So I'm not going to lie, I would be okay if we got him. I'm just going to throw that out there. I think
Calzada.
Calzada, Jay. Calzada. You tried to make it Spanish.
Calzada.
I don't know, fam. I try and keep him in line.
I don't know. He's not moving. He can't move really. I don't know.
He can't move.
I'm just saying,
like he did against us and Bama. I think given the situation we've got right now, having somebody familiar with the SEC is valuable. And I think that this kid showed a lot of grit. And look, I don't know what this Holden kid's going to bring in, but people are hype on him.
So you got the Holden kid and you got the Davis kid that's already there that came from Houston last year.
Right.
That
who we haven't really seen.
Right. That's a 4-star coming out of high school. And then we don't even know what TJ is going to do. So
there's also rumors that Max Johnson from LSU is entering. I don't know. It's just been insane. USC ended up getting Spencer Rattler. who saw that coming? Not me.
Yeah, South Carolina, huh? Look at them game
South
dogs.
Carolina. I mean, look, Shane Beamer, I like him. I like him a lot.
Oh,
but
he's a recruiter.
He's doing his thing, but
Yeah.
I'm a little salty. Like, why South Carolina? You know what I mean? But anyway, so back to the offensive coordinator for a second, because we didn't really, yeah, you're right about that. I know. Back to the offensive coordinator real quick. Like I mentioned, rumors about Austin Davis being the front runner. I honestly expect an offer is going to be out this week from what I'm hearing. Thoughts on that one?
Oh, hey, this one is, I'm kind of torn in between because I know Austin Davis personally. My only concern is, has he been in the coaching business long enough to evaluate to being an offensive coordinator? And
totally
being
agree.
a coordinator in the SEC is totally different. Like, let's just be honest. And yes, he's the quarterback coach at Seattle, but being a quarterback coach and being an offensive coordinator and calling plays is two different degrees. And I just don't know if he's ready just yet, but
Yeah.
if it's a decision that they make, I honestly have to feel like if Harsin makes this decision, he's going to be more involved with play calling. And
I would
this
agree.
is going to be pretty much Coach Harsin calling the plays, and Austin Davis kind of help designing some plays and help being the quarterback's coach while he does the play calling. So I could see that happening that way, and I can see probably why he would go that direction instead of going out and hiring like a big name OC. Like Joe Brady's out there. If
That's
he wouldn't have hired a guy like, if he wanted to hire a guy like Joe Brady, Joe Brady wants to call the plays. Joe Brady wants to run his stuff. But if he gets a guy like Austin Davis, who has zero experience at offense coordinator, then he knows I'm in complete control. Austin Davis is really my quarterback coach / OC, but I'm in complete control of play calling and doing things the way I want to do it.
Right. And look, Harsin is also, for all I mean, this is a young guy, Harsin. I mean, like, he's in his 40s, coaching in the SEC. He is in the business of giving people their shot. You know what I mean? And because he needed it and he got it. And so I think that he sees value in young bucks, kind of like with the eagerness. And I don't know what the, chemistry and rapport was like between Harsin and Mike Bobo, but in the time that I covered them, I didn't see it. Like, I just didn't think it was, I didn't think they aligned in a lot of ways. And I think that is so important, especially early on in building this program. He's got to have guys around him that click and that are seeing this thing together. That became an issue with Gus Malzahn. Like, Malzahn and Kevin Steele, as we all know, were just operating on completely different islands. Like, they had nothing to do with each other. And I think at some point that starts to rear its ugly head. Like, you have to have cohesion. I understand respecting each other's position and ability to handle each side, but for what Harsin is doing right now and how early he is in his tenure at Auburn, I do think it's important that the staff have cohesion together and that he has guys around him that he is having his imprint on, and he's kind of got a feel of it, especially on the offensive side, because that is his bread and butter. So I kind of think it makes sense for him to go for a younger up and coming guy that is still willing to be molded a little bit. He's not going to be super set in his ways like Bobo was. So I think that's going to be what happens. It's the source that I've seen the most. It kind of tracks for what I think Harsin is going to want to do moving forward, whether it pans out. Because look, it is a risk. There is risk associated with taking a shot on a new guy. The reward could be very high though. So we'll wait and see. But that's the latest that I've heard anyway. We are also on the brink of early signing period, and it does seem like there's been a lot of movement and a lot of traction, which is fantastic for this program. We have had a flip. Offensive lineman Drew Bobo flipped from Auburn to Georgia. Don't think anyone was surprised once his dad, obviously Mike Bobo, was let go. But other than that, we did end up getting 4-star running back Damari Alston, which was huge. He took a visit at Michigan State this past weekend. So everybody was kind of like, does that mean he's reconsidering Auburn? Whatever. But he reaffirmed his commitment to Auburn on Twitter. Solid on that one. 4-star defensive back Austin Ausberry chose Auburn over LSU, which is where his dad played. So he's a legacy at LSU, and he still chose Auburn, which is awesome. 4-star quarterback Holden Gariner. I got to learn how to name these kids at some point, but whatever. We'll wait until they're officially on campus. Right. But honestly, just go Google kind of where things are standing right now if you want a list of names. But it feels like it's steadily moving, which is, I'll take it. You know what I mean? Steady movement's better than no movement.
All right. No, like I said, I'm hearing some really good reports about the signing class that's supposed to sign tomorrow. We'll know by 10 a.m. Some of these kids
crazy.
The letter of intent is signed in the morning at 6 a.m. that they can start. So, I was supposed to have been trying to host that show in Auburn, but unfortunately, I have other plans that I have to do, so I couldn't get down there. So
got another birthday trip.
No, so. But this is if it lines up the way I think it's going to line up, that means Auburn's going to do a lot better than people thought of.
I think so too.
Coach Harsin coming to this area, haven't really ever recruited this area. I'm pretty sure he had to lean heavily on Zach Etheridge, Cadillac, and guys that's been here before, Trayvon Reed. He had to lean on a lot of these guys.
Crushing.
Right. So. These guys, you have to get guys that can relate to these younger guys, and they're not too far removed. They're still in their 30s. They're still in their 30s, so they can still know how to hone in on these kids. And these kids kind of can say, okay, this coach gets it. He understands, and I want to go play for this coach. So I think a lot of that they've been hitting the ground running really hard over the last couple of weeks, and I honestly think the Iron Bowl helped a lot of this. I really do, because we was at a point we was reeling a little bit. We had lost Mississippi State, South Carolina, Texas A&M before the state game, and we was reeling a little bit, and we needed we needed something, and those kids came out, fought their butt so hard against Alabama, and I think the kids saw that in the stand. The stands were electric, and these kids are all about that. And once they saw how the lights was flickering and just the crowd all into it, and how you just took basically the number one team all the way into overtime. Like, when they saw that, I think they was just like, you know what? I want to come here because I feel it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I chose Auburn, was off that family type atmosphere. Game was electric. We actually lost to Alabama, that game that I was at, but it was a hard fought game, and Alabama was ranked like top 5. And a lot of us was there. Like the guys I told you in the beginning of the other episode, we was all there, and we all committed. So the atmosphere has a lot to do with kids coming to your school, win or lose, but mostly in a loss, they get a chance to see your attitude the most as a fan base. And I think a lot of those kids liked it, and that's why they choosing to come to Auburn.
I also think that you look at it and you see this is an opportunity that I could be a difference maker. I could really add something to this place. Like, the foundation is there, but I could come in here and make a name for myself. Like, you could add success to Alabama. Nobody's going to know who you are because there's just success all over the place. You know what I mean? So I think that there's value in ambitious kids looking at Auburn and going, I could be what they're missing. And that should excite you if you're really a hard-nosed competitor. So I'm hopeful that this is going to be the start of that. We've already kind of had some big names that are big gets for this program. We also got a JUCO guy,
number one safety, JUCO,
which is awesome. And so I think that the more you start seeing those pieces add in, the more productive this whole period of the year becomes, because early signing period is December 15th through 17th, but you've also got late signing, whatever the heck we're freaking calling it, in February. So it's not like it's this week or bust. There's still movement that will transpire. Now, are you surprised that he didn't try and have an OC lockdown before early signing period?
Oh yeah, most definitely. But I think that's if he thought Bo was going to stay. I think if he figured out if Bo was his guy, and this is who he's rolling with, then the need and importance to get an OC would have been like really high. But I think the fact that it goes to really tell me that he's ultimately going to be the play caller. This is what it's telling me, because I'm pretty sure he sat down and talked to Tank and said, Tank, I don't want you to leave because I'm going to be the OC pretty much.
That's so true.
Anyone that I'm bringing in is just someone to kind of manage the things. But
he doesn't need the OC to sell the plan. The plan's already the plan.
Plan's already the plan.
Got
so that's
it.
pretty much what this is telling me.
Makes sense. Man, see, we work things out on this podcast. It's what we do. Real quickly, before we close out, let's get a little basketball update because Auburn's men basketball is number 13 in the AP poll, climbing 5 spots. We beat Nebraska 99-68 without Bruce Pearl, obviously, serving the first of a 2-game suspension from the NCAA. That's going to conclude with the home game against North Alabama happening tonight, Tuesday. So that's part of a punishment that was doled out as part of a 4-year investigation into Auburn's program as a result of then assistant coach Chuck Person's arrest back in 2017, all of that. Everybody was like, wait, what are we on probation for? It happened forever ago, so we all forgot. And honestly, the punishment, I think everyone can kind of breathe a sigh of relief because it could have been a lot worse, basically. But anyway, so incredibly exciting to see the team rally the way they did and respond, even without Coach Pearl there. They're on a 5-game win streak, and the average margin of victory is 20 points in that 5-game win streak. So this team's on fire right now, Jay, and I know you love it.
Oh yeah, I'm a basketball guy. Everybody knows.
I know you are.
If you don't know, you know now. But I'm a basketball guy. I pay attention. I was even in Miami, and I found time to sit there and watch the Auburn game versus Nebraska. And just watching this team, like they're really getting better and trying to make shot selection. That was a question mark early in the year. Was some of our shots was kind of big, huge questions, like coming at the wrong time. I think they're kind of figuring out like, okay, I know Coach Pearl likes to let us just run and shoot, but we need to be smarter about when we're shooting some of these shots from long range, when we're up so many points and there's so much time on the clock. Let's be a little smarter. So I think the team's getting better. I think, Willie Green Jr., I think he's doing a better job. And I think he loves to push the pace of the court, of the basketball. I think that really works in Bruce's favor. You talk about a guy like Jabari Smith. Everyone can see why this guy's a top 5 NBA draft pick. Right?
Yeah.
He's 6'10", can shoot. He can handle the basketball. Like, I think he's coming into his own now. He's getting a lot of confidence. Kevin Durant was at the game Saturday watching them. Sitting courtside. Yeah, sitting courtside, with jumpsuit on, with eating the box of nachos. $300 million
normal dude.
Some nachos and cheese on the sideline. So, I guess I'm the only one that care about trying to eat right during season. I guess
basically
6'11", maybe 175 pounds. You pretty much
you don't care.
Eat.
There you go.
So, he was there. So I'm pretty sure that kind of amped up the guys. Like, hey man, we got one of the best players in the NBA watching us on the court.
100%.
So, more people are going to pay attention to this program. Like the biggest thing that Auburn got that I was excited to see on that list was that they don't get any bans from postseason. Like if they would have got bans from postseason, that would have crushed, because
that hurts recruiting.
You're going to lose 5-star recruits because they all want to play in the NCAA tournament. They all want to have opportunity to win a national championship. Even if they're one and done, they want to have a chance to just smell it. And
of course.
So that was huge for us. And like I said, Bruce Pearl, 2 games he missed, Nebraska and North Alabama. Hopefully we still should be able to walk out on the court and win those 2 games.
Right.
So the timing was right on that. And it didn't catch us in January, where it's SEC play. We got to go play Kentucky, or you got to go play Arkansas, or you got to play LSU. Texas A&M is a good basketball. Like the SEC is going to be loaded this year. Alabama is ranked in the top 10 in basketball. Like, what is going on? You know what I'm saying?
What's happening?
SEC basketball is back. SEC football is coming back because Tennessee got better this year. Florida, I don't know what happened this year, but we'll see if, with the new coach, they become better. So
maybe USC.
Yeah, maybe USC, South Carolina now, maybe they get better. So I just think the SEC right now is a really good place from top to bottom. I think we're going in the right direction. And, I can't wait to watch this basketball team play in January, because that's when it gets fun. It's not right now, but when you get January, if we don't lose the UConn in double overtime, we're probably ranked number 7 right now.
Yeah, that's our only loss, right?
Right, that's our only loss in double overtime to
crazy.
To UConn. So if you win that game, you're probably going to play Michigan State the next game, and then you beat Michigan State. We did beat Loyola, who's a great basketball team. They go to the NCAA tournament every year. Yeah. And we beat them. But if you play Michigan State and you beat Michigan State and you're 8 or 9-0 right now, you're definitely in the top 10.
That's so crazy.
So
what a time, What a time. not slowing down anytime soon either. So thank you very much, everybody, for hanging with us as we catch you up on what's been going on. Obviously, we got a bowl game coming up. The Tigers will be in the Birmingham Bowl facing Houston. So that's going to be an exciting one. Your girl will be the sideline reporter on the game. So I'm super excited to cover them one more time. If you can't come out to the game, make sure you tune in ESPN and watch. Jason's also going to be there too. So we'll have another reunion, but we'll break down that matchup, I guess, next week. Yeah,
December 28th after Christmas. So next week is Christmas. Next Friday is Christmas, I think.
We'll have to do our episode early.
Yeah, we'll do an episode like Monday or Tuesday. But
preview the bowl game.
What though? The bowl game it's going to be really fun because it's in a brand new stadium. So Auburn fans, I understand that this may not have been the bowl game that you wanted, but at the same time,
make the most of it.
This stadium is better than the Music City Bowl Stadium.
Okay, yeah. And it's an easy drive for everybody. So transportation should be easy. Just make it happen, Get
out, support these guys, help them get a victory in a bowl game because over the last several years, we have not been good in bowl games. So we need to get out and win going into the 2022 season the right way.
Totally. I'm with you on that. We will make sure to preview that matchup, get you ready for it next week. So we hope that you join us here on Believe in Everything Auburn. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you subscribe. If you haven't already, you can do that in the podcast app and you'll get a notification every time we release an episode. You can also find us in the Believe website, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, you can find us. So thank you very much for following along. Thank you for being understanding if we don't put out an episode every week, like we've had to do a couple of times, but overall, we're pretty good about this. So we appreciate your patience. But anyway, for Jason Campbell, I'm Taylor Davis. Thanks for listening, everybody. War Eagle.
War Eagle from the rooftop out of the office. Peace.